Hey, grandkids. This is a story about the Cold War. Your grandpa was born in 1947. And when he was it was about 1950, 1951, 52, we were in what's called a Cold War with the nation and of Russia and the Soviet Union. And everyone was terrified we were going into a nuclear war. As you may know, nuclear weapons and 2 nuclear bombs were dropped on Japan to end the World War with Japan. So everyone now had nuclear weapons, and Russia and the United States were mortal enemies. So when I was a kid growing up and in grade school, we had nuclear bomb drills where we would hide under our desk. And the theory being, I guess, that a nuclear explosion and that huge wave and blast wouldn't touch us if we were under our desk, or the radiation would somehow go around us if we were under our desk. But there was a lot of fear at that time. And the United States government was building intercontinental missiles that could go over and bomb Russia as fast as they could. But the problem, of course, is if you build a missile silo, somebody could send a missile and blow it up. So they hid missile silos under the ground, and sometimes they'd build farmhouses around them so they would just look ordinary and nobody would know. Now, my father, incredible guy that he was, and I don't know the story, but I wished I did, how he got a contract to work on the missile sites. So when I was about 14 years old, he was tasked with a job of painting and labeling all the cables and conduit and all the lines so everyone would know where things were. So if there was trouble, let's say with an oxygen feed, they could follow the oxygen line because there would be all these labels and the direction of the flow, electrical lines, fuel lines, pressure lines. I mean, this missile silo was just filled with tons of them. So what you see here is a diagram of the underground missile silo. So we would enter through that entrance you saw before, go down here through a tube, and then about 20 or 30 stories down, I don't remember how, this long missile, you can see it there. And all these wires, electrical wires, high pressure lines, and everything were aligning the silo, the concrete silo that held the missile. And so my dad tasked me with the job of labeling all these lines and everything. So he gave me a set of blueprints. So, so of course, at 14 years old, there was no way I was supposed to be in a highly secretive missile site. But my dad I remember we had a blue Valiant. I remember the car. We'd drive to the guard gate, and I don't know if I hid in the back seat or if my dad, who was a very friendly, outgoing, connected person who could talk people into things, but somehow he got me past the guard, and I don't remember how. But I do remember the blueprints. Now, I'd start at the top floor, and there'd be all these lines, every kind of line you can imagine. And with the blueprints, I was able to determine, or was I? To what line was what. And then I had this page of stickies, little sticky things. So I had a page of oxygen and with a little arrow on it, so you know what direction it flowed. And then I would just stick them on every few feet so that if there was ever a problem, they would know what was in that line or conduit or electrical box or whatever it was. So anyway, we did this because my dad was working. We did this in the middle of the night because my dad would wake me up and we'd drive to these missile sites with one of his buddies. I would get in there and I would do that job. And so fortunately, there was never any nuclear war. They were never used. So we'll never know about my contribution to World War III. Did I make the right decisions? Did I put the stickies in the right place? I guess we'll never know.